Now we're going to talk about printing from model space, and we'll get into printing from paper space later on. But right now I have a plan that I've created and I want to start to print it. So printing, when you're printing a large format, is referred to as plotting. So that is the command for when you want to print in AutoCAD. So it's either PLOT, okay, it's P enter, or the plotting setting or the plotting tool button is up at the top. That looks like the printer. So what this does is it takes you to a pop-up window with all the options that you need to plot a drawing. You can plot both, and it's the same process, just different settings, from model space and paper space, but for now we're sticking to plotting from model space. So in this window there are various areas that are similar to those found in other programs you might be using. So for example, there are options to select the printer, the paper size, how many copies are needed, so on and so forth. There are other options that are AutoCAD specific, so that those include page setup, plot area, plot offset, plot scale, etc., etc. So in the page setup, which is located up at the top, you can store configurations for different types of prints, and AutoCAD will even store a previous plot option, which is very helpful when you're plotting out multiple sheets that have the same settings. So basically, once you print, it'll save that previous plot, and you can just activate that and it'll load in all the settings from the previous plot, and alleviates having to set all of your settings up over again. In the field plot area, okay, what is down below, a pull-down menu, okay, can be found with the options display, extents, limits, window. The two options most commonly used here are extents and window. So to print either, these are basically used to print either the entire layout or a smaller area of your plan. Plotting by window allows you to define a portion of your drawing to plot, and the extents will plot all of the objects that are within your model space, like a zoom extents. Plot offset, located down below, guides the position of the print on the page itself. Usually the option center the plot, which is this little checkbox here, is checked to achieve a clean appearance. I always make sure that that's checked, so that's a good habit to get into. In the area plot scale, the overall scale of the print is defined. So here, that's right next to it. When plotting from model space, the way that it differs from paper space is we want to define the scale for the final plot. Plotting from model space, I find, is very useful when you're building a physical model and need drawings as a base. So when we plot from model space, we define the scale of the contents we select to plot to be a certain scale. If we know that we need a drawing at 1/4 inch equals a foot, then we'll indicate that in the scale that we will plot. Okay, so I can deselect my fit to paper, which I rarely use. We should always be using a scale. And then under scale, you can see that this is the same scale that's loaded into the file that you can also see, when we do annotative scale, etc., etc. So what we want to do is we want to create a CTB file, okay? And that's a color-dependent plot style table, and it stores the information needed in order to plot our drawings with line weights and line color. So for example, you can set your color 1, red, assigned to objects under red layers to plot out with a black line. So note that the CTB files are set up so that the objects with the same color, not to be confused with the same layer, plot out with the same line weight. That line weight is simply a value given for the thickness of the line. Think like your different types of pens when you hand draft. So additionally, a CTB file is a separate file, so it's not an AutoCAD file. It's not a drawing file, but it's a support file. And much like the template file, we need to load a CTB file into AutoCAD in order to use it. So you should keep track of where you save your CTB file so that you can always have it on hand when you need to plot on another computer, because it gets stored in the computer's file. It does not travel with the drawing. So you'll have to copy it into each computer that does not have it. So to begin with, when we create a CTB file, if you open your plotting dialog menu, okay, as we open now, in your plotting dialog box, under plot style, table, and the pen assignments, okay, we can expand this and we can go to new. Okay, so what has happened and what's opened is that a dialog box has opened up that'll walk us through the process of creating a new CTB file. So our for our purposes, we want to select the Start from Scratch option. Okay, and then click on Next. Now we're asked to enter a file name for our CTB file. So this is where we're going to name the file. And again, name it something that you will remember. Okay, and then click Next. Then click on the button that says Plot Style Table Editor. And you will enter the dialog where we will start to assign our line weights and our line colors. Okay, so the process for this is, as you can see on the left, we have all of the colors. Okay, if we scroll down, all 255, 56 colors that we have that is loaded in AutoCAD. Okay, and see, these are all of the possible colors that we could use for our layers. However, as noted in our layers, okay, when we created them last week, we're only sticking to the first 9. Okay, and so what we want to do in order to enter the values for a color is we want to select the color from the list on the left. So for example, my red. Okay, under the properties, we can start setting the different properties. So note that under color, if we want a black line, we have to select under color. Okay, we have to select black, or else our color will print out using the object layer. So for example, it will print red for any object whose color is red, and so on. So it's helpful to remember, if you want to color in your AutoCAD drawing, just to assign a color to the layer that's not defined to plot with a black pen. So as long as our first 9, okay, are being used as line weights, okay, and real lines and for real objects in our file, we're going to make all of these black. But if we want to add hatches with a color, etc., then we would go to a layer color that we're not assigning a black pen to, and as long as we print out in color, that's going to print out in color. So when we finish entering our values, okay, so for example, our color 1, and if I look to my homework list, okay, I can see that the color 1, which is red, we're going to print out in black, and then I can change the line weight to 0.3, and again, this is in millimeters. Okay, once I'm done, I can hit save and close. Okay, and then finish. And now we're brought back to the plot dialog, and note that our CTB file is now the current pen assignment file, since that option was selected in the same window where we click to access our plot style table editor. So note that however helpful that is for the time being, this will not be the case if you change computer, since your CTB file is stored within the AutoCAD on your current computer. So what we need to do is we need to go find where AutoCAD stores the CTB files and reference them, so that we can copy our CTB file into a location where we have access to it all the time and can load it into another AutoCAD program if need be. So for example, if I need to locate it, or if I need to load it into my computer at home. So if I cancel out of this, I'm back into my model space. So to find where AutoCAD stores the CTB files, you can either perform a search through Windows, okay, which is basically the hardest and longest way, or you can type in the command Styles Manager. So I'm going to type in Styles Manager, okay, one word. And what it's going to do, it's going to pop up the window for the folder where AutoCAD stores and accesses CTB files when it loads, as well as other pen assignment files. So note that there's also an Add a Plot Style Table Wizard there as well. This is another way to create a CTB file from scratch, and it's the same process that we went through, only with a couple extra steps. So again, this area is where AutoCAD accesses the pen assignment files. Okay, and be sure that you find the one that you just created and copy it. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to paste it to, let's say, my desktop. Okay, and the reason why is, again, that I can find it easily. Okay, so additionally, if I need my CTB file, if I need to add it to that location, so say I go into my Styles Manager, And if I delete this, in order to load it back into this, I would have to copy it and paste it in here. So if it's not here, okay, and I get rid of it, deleting it from the file from that location will also eliminate that pen assignment, though it may be listed as missing under our pen assignment dialogues in our plot window. So this is helpful when you think you have it loaded, but in fact it's not, and AutoCAD will tell you that it's missing. A cue that you either need to copy it again to the plot style manager, or you can ignore the missing if you are using another pen assignment file. So what that means is that if I type in plot again, a lot of times now I've found that more recent versions of AutoCAD, it still keeps it in here, okay, but a lot of times if it is missing, okay, it will say in parentheses missing after it, and that's how you know that you have to go back into your styles manager and you have to add it into here. Okay, so to edit an existing CTB file, okay, the easiest way for you to do that is to double click on it in the Plot Styles Manager folder if it's in there, and select the Form View tab. So always keep the most up-to-date CTB file in your Plot Styles Manager, or else you won't see your most recent changes. So you might have to copy it into the folder again and override the older copy of the file. So if I go to find my CTB file on my desktop, if I double click on it, okay, this is where I can edit it. Okay, and I'm going to go to Form View, and again I'm going to see what I've already accessed. Okay, you can see my color 1 is black. It has a line weight. Okay, if I continue, I can change my color green to be black. The line weight is 0.2. Oops, not line type, line weight. Okay, I don't have to hit enter. Saving it is going to save it and close. So I'm just going to keep going down the line. Blue is obviously black because we want a black line for our blue color. And then our line weight is 0.15. Magenta we don't have. Cyan is 0.05. Black 0.05. And then color 8 and color 9, etc., etc. So we're not going to get into that just yet. So I'm going to just save and close it as I have it. Okay, so what we can also do, sorry, if I go back to that, okay, once I have that saved, okay, this is going to be the most up-to-date. So I'm going to copy that, and then I'm going to type in Styles Manager, and I'm going to paste it here. Okay, I can also do the same thing, or I can double click on it, go to Form View, and I can edit it here too as well. But you can see that I just made these changes, so this is my most up-to-date. So we always want to make sure that we copy our most up-to-date file and paste it into this Styles Manager. So there's a screening option, okay, and that's located halfway down in the options. And so note that with screening, we can set our line to have a screen applied, and so basically that means there's a translucency. So anything that is screened will turn out to be a gray line depending upon the screening value that you assign for the pen. So, however, there's a couple things to note with screening. Printers may have a problem printing screened lines in that they turn out to be a dotted line as opposed to a continuous gray line. So it varies from printer to printer. Another thing to watch out for with screening is that the gray line might show up when you go to print, printing over the black line. So this can be controlled using the command draw order. If you select your gray screen line and go to the options of the draw order command, then you have the option to bring the lines or objects in front or behind the other lines and objects individually. So note that this will work with any object, but if you're printing all the lines black, okay, then it's nothing that you really have to deal with. So for color 9, we have a screening at 50%, and I can just type in 50. The line weight is 0.05. Black. And again, this just puts a transparency on it. And then save and close. Now this is my most up-to-date. Okay, so I want to make sure that I copy it and just paste it where I can find it, just in case, okay, in order to make sure that they're all the most current. So what I want to do now at this point, okay, so my styles manager, if I go back, we can see that my most recent CTB file is there. And now what I want to do is I want to plot this drawing to have black pens. So after making sure that the correct printer, page size, layout, and so on are selected, okay, so if I go back into plot, and I'm going to save this as an Adobe PDF. Okay. Paper size, let's say tabloid, okay, which is 11 by 17. I'm going to choose extents and center my plot, and then I'm going to give it a scale. So what I'm going to do for this is under scale, I'm going to start off by saying, well, I want this to be an 1/8 scale. Okay. I can always preview it by clicking on preview. You can just say, okay, this is fine. We'll learn about that later. And what it does is if I zoom in, okay, by scrolling up, okay, you can see that I'm starting to get some line weights. Okay, this is gray because we haven't defined color 8 in our CTB file. But when we do define that with a black pen and a line weight, so again, if I go back, hit escape, type in styles manager. Okay, let's do it. Let's do it this way. Create another one. This is usually how I like to work, because I like to have my most up-to-date where I can find it. Not my template. And then I can copy it into my plot styles. So if I go to my form view, and if I go to color 8, again, I'm going to turn this into black. I'm going to give it a line weight of 0.05, save and close. This is my most up-to-date. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to paste it here and replace it. And then if I close this and I go into plot again, okay, and I go to plot previous, okay, it's going to keep my other settings that I had done previously. And if I go to preview, you can see that now I have a thin black line. So that's the point of the CTB file. Okay, so if I hit escape and go back, you can see that 1/8 inch is too big. Okay, so I want to keep going smaller. Okay, and let's say 1/16, and I can preview it again, and it looks okay. Okay, so that once I'm done, if I hit OK, and again, just hit continue. Okay, it's going to print a PDF for me. Okay, and it's going to save it. I can indicate where to save it, and I'm going to hit save. And once I print it, I can go find where it is. Date modified. And then you can see that what it does is it prints it as a PDF. So this is actually what it would look like when you print it out to a sheet of paper, okay, but instead it's printing as a PDF. So in class, I'll often ask you to plot to a PDF file. So this is a very common way of plotting drawings and sending to someone without having to send your drawing files, you know, with your associative files, your CTB files, etc., for them to plot. So instead, when we plot to PDF, we're plotting what would look like a drawing from a normal paper plotter, but instead it's a digital file. So the Adobe PDF is a defined plotter in your printer list if Adobe programs are installed on your computers. PDF files are vector files, so they can be used in Adobe Illustrator for modifying, and the lines, the vectors, will be maintained, and we'll see that as in a later lesson. So if you don't have the option for the Adobe PDF, you can also plot the drawings using the DWG to PDF option. However, you might run into issues when printing your title block. That's a future assignment. With the DWG to PDF, because that printer tends to have a larger non-print area around the border, and you may need to adjust your title block accordingly if you plan to use that plotter often. So this will make more sense later on. When we rotate our document in Acrobat, because you don't want to make an extra effort in making the viewer have to cock their head in viewing your PDF file, you can rotate the document in Adobe Acrobat to be oriented horizontally. So when you open your PDF file, Adobe Acrobat will open. Okay, this is Reader. I don't have Acrobat on my computer, but under Document, okay, in the main menu, there's an option to rotate the pages. So if you open that, there's a setting to rotate your document. So note when you do this, the default is to rotate the first page, and when we plot multiple pages as PDF files and combine them, make sure that you rotate all, not just the first sheet. So what I ask, and I'm just going to do a view because I don't have Adobe Acrobat, but I have Reader. It's not the same in Reader. Reader only changes the view of it once. It doesn't save the view. So what I should do is when I have Acrobat, I should go into the document and I should rotate it so that basically all of the sheets have this horizontal layout. Okay, and that's what I'm going to ask of you in this class.